All right. Hello, everyone. My name is AnnickMagac. I'm an Amazon best-selling author of Clear. I'm a motivational speaker and a coach. And today I want to talk to you guys about exercise and the gateway to change. I was having a conversation earlier today with a couple clients, and I was on a coaching call, and I got onto this conversation with this woman where she is in her mid-40s. And she was explaining, or we were kind of talking about timeline of when things were changing in her life, or when she started to feel like she could make changes in her life. Now, let me back up a little bit, because one thing about change or experiencing change or wanting to change your life or to become a better person, like all these things of bettering your life, there is no definitive timeline as to when that happens or when and how it's going to happen. And I have found in working with people that the majority of big changes in people's lives start to change consciously in their 30s to their 50s. Now, a lot of things can happen, of course, in your 20s, and I don't want to minimize that. But oftentimes in our 20s, we are forced to change because of outside circumstances. But I really start to see that in 30s and 40s, people really start to take the reins of making changes in their life, which I think is amazing. And also have to say that change can happen at any point, and even up into our 60s, 70s, and 80s. So how does exercise make change in your life? How is that the gateway to making change in your life? All right, so back to the client. So we're talking today, and she brought up, she was kind of reminiscing about a few things and how she wants to. Hello, if you are joining in, please let me know what your name is and where you are from. Hi, Deb. Good to see you back. Hi. I'm talking about exercise as the gateway to change, and I think that this is actually a topic that you will probably love and be able to weigh in on. So I was speaking with this client today, and we were reminiscing about where was the initial guspo to make change in her life. And she recited this awesome story about how she by accident actually took part in a Tough Mudder race. She wasn't anticipating doing this. She hadn't worked out in a number of years, and actually was probably, she would consider herself at the time out of shape, overweight, not very happy in the least bit. And so what ended up happening was that her sister-in-law invited her husband to be in this Tough Mudder race. And at the last minute, the husband bowed out, and my client, who was supposed to drive the two of them and basically be support, was like, well, if I'm here, and her sister-in-law was like, well, if he's not going to do it, why don't you join me? She was like, all right. And it was not only an amazing experience, but it was actually a life-changing experience and decision that happened to her. Because what ended up happening from this was that, number one, despite being overweight, out of shape, never in her life thinking that she could do any type of real physical activity, nonetheless something that was considered very athletic, she did it. And not only did she do it, but she finished it and had an amazing time. And really, it took her out of her comfort zone. She had an amazing bonding experience with her sister-in-law. From there on, they were actually much closer than they had ever been. And thirdly, that she discovered something about herself. And this is the very important key, and this is why I truly believe that exercise is often the gateway to change, is that by testing your body in a physical capacity, which we don't often do because the majority of us work desk jobs or we are seated for a long time, and not many of us work on our feet all day long, or if we do, there's minimal movement. Unless, of course, you are involved in construction or any type of physical building or anything like that, or working on a line. So what she discovered was that, number one, she was entirely capable of doing something that she never thought that she could possibly do. And two, she was incredibly surprised that her actual body, her physical body, could do it. This is something that happens over and over again to so many people, is that they don't actually realize, we don't realize, and in general, all of us, we don't realize what our bodies are actually really capable of. We use them in a very specific way. We tend to work out in a very specific way. We tend to go about our daily habits in a very specific way. This was actually a Tough Mudder race that a client got sucked into by accident. But CrossFit would be actually a great example of trying to move your body in a very different way. So this person, again, who had not exercised or done anything in years and probably had never even really done anything in her life, does a race, is like, oh my gosh, I had so much fun. What are we doing next? And so her sister-in-law was like, we're going to do a half marathon. And she was like, okay, let's do a half marathon. Now think about this. Somebody who'd never worked out had so much fun doing this physical activity that she then was like game for anything. And it was this huge mindset shift for her where she was able to recognize like, okay, you know, hi Jackie, welcome. Let everyone know where you are from. And she realized that although she was looking at herself and her body in a very specific way and in her life in a certain way where she was awesome. We got somebody from Kansas City, we've got Georgia, we've got New York. I love this. I love Periscope. So this ended up, thank you for the hearts, this ended up really changing the next course of her life for the next 3 years. And now, you know, we're working together where she really wants to get out of her comfort zone even more and explore all these different things in her life. And I have seen this again with people who are older because the thing is that we take for granted certain things. For instance, we take for granted that sports are available to everybody, especially women, which was not the case. If you're kind of like 35 and above, you may have experienced that there were not that many female women's sports to participate in growing up. It's far more common now, and it's kind of a crazy thing to say even at my age that there wasn't that much available, but it's actually the truth. And so as an adult in rediscovering sports and being involved in sports, it's a very different take on it, and we can get really, you get scared as you get older. It's just a fact of life. And I, of course, you know, I talk about live more fearlessly, right? It's pretty much my mantra. And I really always talk about trying to move your body in a different way because there's a huge amount of fear around getting hurt, and especially as we get older. And one of the number one reasons why people don't want to do CrossFit, Tough Mudder, cross-country skiing, exactly, don't want to break a hip. Because, you know, immediately we go into the fear mode. We're like, oh my God, you know, if I get hurt, I won't be able to work. I won't be able to take care of my family. I won't be able to make that big event that I need to do. It's just going to be this huge inconvenience. I'm going to inconvenience everybody around me. And so we start to lose confidence in our body's ability. Here's the thing. This is the one thing that we always neglect, and that is that our body has the most amazing capacity to heal. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and, you know, do motocross and decide that you're going to do a backflip on a motorcycle. Not talking about that. But to actually just try to stretch your body a little bit in a different way. Because when you discover physically that your body is capable of much more than you had anticipated, there's a switch that goes off in the mind, and you all of a sudden start to get this confidence that you may not have had in any other aspect. So for instance, I'm really big on weightlifting. Yes, exactly, Jackie. The body is malleable, and we take it for granted. I'm not that flexible. I'm not that strong. I don't know. I'm not really good at twisting my body this way or that way. My back hurts. My knees hurt, and my back hurts from sitting so much. And really, the one thing that your body needs, even despite having pain, is really exercise and getting out and moving it in a different way. And the confidence comes from saying, like, oh my gosh. For instance, me, I love weightlifting. It is a passion. I did bodybuilding. I love weightlifting. And the number one reason why I love it is the confidence that it has given me in other aspects in my life. The focus it has given me to concentrate so acutely on trying to, yeah, that's right. Deb is one of my ladies in iron, so she totally understands that the challenge of going up a weight. Now, whether that is a pound, a half a pound, oh, wow. Well, yeah. See, but that's awesome, right? So, Jackie, did you not feel amazing that you were like, wow, I can actually do this, even though it's considered a young lady sport, right? Doing ballet. you hit a weight, you get up on your toes in ballet, and you're like, I am so badass. This feels amazing. What can I do next? And it was the same feeling that my client had. She did the Tough Mudder, and all of a sudden she was like, oh, that is so awesome, Jackie. That is so cool. You have to do a Periscope on that. And so what can you do? Like, you know, right now, if you think about for this next year, we're so early in the year. What is there out there that you guys want to try to do this year? Like, is there some type of physical activity that you've kind of had your eye on and you've thought about it in the back of your mind that you haven't actually done it? And let me know, like type it in. I did my 30. I can't, that's awesome. I did ballet as like a very, very little girl, and I love it. And I also love to watch the Nutcracker and Swan Lake and anything else that I can see on PBS if they're showing it. So what is there? You know, I think I've shared with you guys that this year I bit the bullet and I finally was able to join a women's hockey team. And let me tell you, that has been a stretch in a very different way that I wasn't anticipating. And that for me has been a big change in my cardio workouts, because even though I thought I was pretty fit, hockey takes a specific type of conditioning. It's pretty much all out sprinting from the moment your skates hit the ice until you get off to do a line change. It is full on sprinting and hand-eye coordination and lateral movement, which from weightlifting, I don't really get. I get more of my conditioning from either lifting faster or doing traditional forms of cardio like running, elliptical, Stairmaster, or again, lifting my weights faster. But the conditioning for hockey is so different, and it actually has, number one, it's been very hard, but two, it has actually made me feel more agile. And that is actually something that feels really good as somebody who's getting older. You're going to jump 3 feet in the courses this year. So Jackie does horse racing. No, I'm sorry, you do not do, you're an equestrian jumper. Not horse racing, totally different sport. 3 feet, I want to see video of that because I'm totally impressed and I absolutely love horses, so I would love to see that. So share, what else? Eventing. Oh, is that what you call it? You call it eventing? Okay. Should I just also just say that it's horse eventing so that they don't think that you're just like party eventing? Although that could be its own sport in itself, right? So what are some other things that you know, those of you who are watching that you would like to accomplish this year and to share with people? Because I'll also say this, is that sometimes we may have the idea for something and sometimes it takes us a really long time to act on it. So I'll use an example from my own life. I wanted to do bodybuilding a long time before I actually did it. And I didn't realize that it was actually 8 years before I decided I wanted to do it until I actually did it. Now, 8 years went by like this. Like it's like a triathlon for horses. So oh, okay. So eventing is a very specific type of horse riding. Okay, cool. I like that. A very specific event in horse riding. Okay. Dana Lynn Bailey style. Yeah, okay, so Dana Lynn, she is actually in physique, which I was at the base level, which I decided, so this is how much bodybuilding actually changed in 8 years. Okay, so when I first did it, they never even had they had a level, they didn't even have a level called bikini. Now 8 years later, they did have a level of bikini. So I thought that I would actually have to start off in fitness, but I realized that even though I thought I had a lot of muscle mass, when I cut, I couldn't do fitness because I actually didn't have enough muscle mass. And if anybody knows me from the gym, I'm very strong. And again, I thought that I could just hammer out fitness. And then you realize, no, not even close. Bodybuilding actually, thanks Deb. Again, sister in iron, she knows we've lifted together. So it took me 8 years to actually pull the trigger on doing this. And if you were to ask me the only reason why I know it was 8 years was that I actually wrote a blog post on this and I wanted to get my facts straight. So I was relating to this and saying to myself, like, how long was it when I first decided I wanted to do that to when I actually did it? So I was like looking back, and then all of a sudden I was like, 8 years? I wasted 8 years of my life. Now, had I started 8 years earlier, maybe I could have been Dana Lynn Bailey style. You know, now I'm competing in masters. I'm not even competing in like, you know, regular regular pro. I'm in master's. I'm now in master's class. Like, that's crazy. And I also missed out on years of not training in a way that actually, in hindsight, probably would have made my life a lot better and a lot more focused. At the same time, I will say this, that life is a journey. So I have no regrets for what I did in those 8 years, except that I would have been in way better shape during those 8 years and would have really been able to rock my 20s in a very different way and not overweight like I did. But it was a great learning experience. So here's the thing is that I want to encourage you is that it took me 12 years to get from sitting in the cold to competing to eventing for the first time. Awesome. So see, okay, this is a really good example. So Jackie's also saying it took her 12 years to achieve what she wanted to do in eventing. And this is what happens is that time goes by so much faster than we actually, oh, that's sad. Did you get a better horse? I hope so. It takes us a long time. We think that we act quickly or we can make a decision and things will just change and it'll miraculously happen. And it doesn't. My client was she was lucky in that she was kind of forced into this change, but it's actually taken her 3 years. And if she was to be honest, or we were to ask her on air tonight, she would probably say that she feels like she's just at the beginning of her journey. And so I can say that from where she was 3 years ago to where she was, yes, exactly. You need to be emotionally, and that's part of the journey. So Deb is saying you need to be emotionally and mentally ready. Oh, that's awesome. I bet you, for sure, that's why you're jumping higher and faster and bigger. That's awesome, Jackie. That, again, we have our ideas, and then, how do we get there? And why is exercise the gateway to change? Because exercise in whatever format, whether that is, deciding that you want to set this small goal of, it might not even be small to you because maybe you've never done this, but I want to hike a peak in my area. Maybe it's, Periscope is glitched. Okay, so if I'm freezing and going in and out, please forgive me, but hang with me. And I won't keep you too long if Periscope's being glitchy, because on my end, I can't tell. But exercise or physically challenging yourself is a great way to build confidence in other areas of your life. And if you are particularly feeling like you need change in your life, and you can't figure out what it is or what you need or what it might be, whether it's a relationship change, whether it's a job change, whether it's a complete physical overhaul. But if you are feeling the calling that you need change in your life, one easy way, they're not easy, but one way that seems manageable and you can see great results from is to challenge yourself in some way physically. And I would also say, and it'll be a topic for another day, but in another way is decluttering your life. But that's around my book, so we'll talk about that another day. So again, I encourage you, Amy Cutter on body. No, I don't actually know who Amy Cuddy is. Research on body effects. Oh, power poses. If that's what you're getting at. So actually, as I should stand up, make the change today. See, I already seem like a more authoritative if I stand up properly instead of slouching and trying to fit within my camera window. So think about it. If you're feeling bold and ballsy, please share what. Yes, exactly, it does. Especially when you're public speaking, holding yourself in a strong posture, arms on the side, very effective. So if you're feeling like you want to share what your goal is after you think of a way to challenge your body physically, please share it with me. You can share it with me on social media through Instagram, Twitter, or even emailing me directly. But on social media, I'm at AnnickMagac. And you can email me directly, info@AnnickMagac.com. All right, that is physically demanding, and good job. So you guys have an awesome night, and if you would like to check out my book, please. If you would like to check out my book, please download a snippet of it at AnnickMagac.com/Claire-Free chapter. And you guys have an awesome night. Live fearlessly, my friends, and we will talk soon.